Head in the camp, there was a Farallin, which is a dark elf in Cyorion terms for those of you that are joining us for the first time or haven't heard that term before. The Farallin are a type of dark elf in Cyorion that are not in Cyorion. Turok was special and was like the first dark elf relation that had shown up, and now his people are suddenly in this weird place. So we all got very excited, started marching on towards the camp, and suddenly had some questions like, wait, where do you guys think we're from? Do you know who we are? And they had never heard of Cyorion, and suddenly things took a very weird turn when you realized that the person who introduced you to the Vasath outpost was in fact a dark elf by the name of Tesoj, and was the uncle of Turok. That's where we're picking up. A lot of you welcomed into the camp. There's quite a few different people here. You spot 70-ish people in the camp itself, this large outpost. As you had come in, there were some stakes in the ground creating a form of a perimeter. There was a little bit of light attempt at putting some canvas and rope walls up. Soj looks at the lot of you. I'm sure you have many questions. If you'd all like to come with me, we can have some refreshments, go inside where it's a little nicer, and I'm sure I can answer them for you without being so dramatic and disturbing.
Just immediately start walking. Just frantically nodding, like, yeah, please, please. Oh my god.
Turok is still frozen, completely still, like a statue, and he says, My uncle. How can that be?
Strangely, there's another person still frozen that I forgot to get to in the intro. Diggin had a malfunction and a bit of a glitch last night after looking into the depths of the void.
Oh, sorry, he's hugging. Not just
it was embraced in a hug with Doran and glitched and powered down. And Diggin has been since inactive. You guys carried him the rest of the way. So you have a hugging pose Diggin on a stretcher that a few people are working together to carry.
Which Diggin is not in this scene. Goodbye.
You're not in this episode.
He's had a rough day.
Doran's going to follow along, and he's going to help carry Diggin's petrified body along with.
I'm back. I don't know what happened to music.
You went away, and the music went away. This is what happens.
You can't do that to us.
All right.
Don't take my music.
Switch it
I
up.
need my ambiance.
Although I do like that you're like, yeah, there's nothing ominous about this. The music indicated otherwise.
It's always nice to have some ominous music.
Always nice to have ominous music. Sure. So the lot of you are leaded.
Does Turok get any response, or is the guy just completely ignoring me?
He is. He kind of looks back and is like, "Come on, I'll answer everything inside."
Very well. Okay, Turok follows.
I go too. Once Turok is moving.
The Deep Barak and the others kind of work together and get Diggin inside the tent and just kind of prop him up against the pole. He's just leaning in a hug pose against the wall.
Just a suit of armor.
Josh, I'm going to need you to just hold that hug pose against the wall for me.
I can't.
So there's a nicely crafted table in the center of the room. You can see kind of the fins of the mushrooms as who was it that had climbed up? Was that Turok that had climbed up? So Turok, this looks like the underside of one of the caps of one of those great big mushroom trees that you had seen, that's since been turned over and some sort of, clear coat finish has been pulled into it, and it's smoothed out and sanded nicely, but it's petrified, and they've turned it into some sort of a round table. There's some chairs available, and he encourages you, "Oh, please sit. This is my personal tent, and if you just ignore the mess, there's a bed in the back that's got furs kind of like draped haphazardly over it. We we have what we have here. This is the best we can do, so please forgive me for not accommodating you.
The interior decor is completely lost on Tarak as he is still shell-shocked from the announcement that that person is indeed his uncle. He kind of follows woodenly wherever everybody else goes and just says, Visath, the name I did not think it could be true, but
Oh yeah,
it was
very true.
same name as the expedition.
Expedition?
The what?
Oh, the expedition, the story that my father told me. I had thought they had been just figments of a tormented mind, something he could cling to preserve the bits of sanity that were left. I had lost hope that any of his stories could hold true.
Well, you wanna what sort of stories?
If you don't mind, Tarak as another form of verification. Did he refer to it as Visath's third expedition?
Yes, that is exactly what he did. The third. That's correct. I didn't know there may have been others. My father, he was a member of a scouting party that had investigated a strange portal that had appeared in his home, and only the strongest and most fiercest Ferellan warriors have been chosen to go through it. And
The fiercest warriors, he says. That's quaint.
Yeah.
No, that sounds like my brother. Yes. Yes.
But once they went to the other side, the portal had disappeared behind them and it trapped them in this strange world, and their way home was lost to them.
Hmm.
And
So does that mean you know where we are?
I cannot know for certain. Could it possibly be the home of which my father spoke?
This Eterna? No. This is far from Eterna.
Well, I just know that once they went through the portal, they have tried to survive in the strange land. They have hidden for weeks. They tried to survive in this land that was full of bright light and unknown things, and they had evaded capture, but
Really?
eventually they were caught, and my father said the party, they were all killed, all but him, and he was taken a prisoner, and he has never shared with me the details of what happened afterwards. I just know it was a time of great pain and sorrow. And
So-
eventually it was my mother who saved his life. But they never told me more. I think they maybe
I'm
wanted
sorry. You come from a place that's full of bright light?
No, the place where they went to, Cyorion.
Yeah, well, that's where we come from.
Well, that's where the rest of us come from.
Yes, that is correct, but that's what was so strange for him, because he was not used to it, and they could only travel by night. The Ferellan,
Oh. That just gets to be more interesting. But
So
I
let's
hope you
get this
don't mind.
straight. You're from a place called Eterna,
Yes.
and you came here through that gate outside of your city here.
Yes, there's a bit more than Tarak leads on, and that's the compliment of the eloquence of my brother and his inability to think beyond the tip of a sword. as it were, or a staff. I see he's likely taught Turok in his ways.
Do not speak ill of my father.
I speak no ill of my brother. He was a warrior. That is true. That much is true. But I apologize. Can I offer you all refreshment, something to drink?
Is it going to make me shit?
No, it is much finer than what you've likely been served on the way here. I have a few bottles squirreled away, but in just my personal stash, I can only break them out for very special occasions. I apologize, Turok. I am about to shock you again, but Illyria, if you don't mind, please. From a back portion of the tent, you see another Ferellan poke her head out. This one looks a little bit younger. She has the same long pointed ears and sharp features. It looks very similar to Sojourn. This would be your cousin, my daughter. This is Illyria. She was with us on the expedition, and unfortunately she ended up with us. But if you could break away from your studies for just a moment and grab the worm wine. It sounds weird. Trust me. Grab the worm wine and bring that out here. No, there's not actually worms in it. It's just the way it's harvested.
Can I insight check that?
Sure. Give me an
There's
insight
no
check.
worms in it. It's just made of worms.
What was her name?
Illyria.
26.
Hmm.
26 insight.
It's in chat for you if you'd like to write it down from there. So the 26.
The expedition.
Yes, I mean I could tell you more about the expedition, of course. With a 26 on the insight check, this is I'm trying to step back from the lie detector insight. I'm trying to give better descriptions. This is a man who knows how to carry himself and knows how to talk to people. Looking at his body language. The way he's positioned himself, he is optimistic, but very cautiously optimistic. There's an excitement to the tone that he gets to speak to you, but you can just seeing the way he carries like the age on his face and his shoulders, he is exhausted from what's happened. You don't sense any subterfuge, but you do get a very overwhelming sense that he intends to make a deal that will be advantageous to everybody. He is desperate. This is a desperate person.
Okay, cool.
And the wine he is incredibly excited for. I haven't had this in, I think I opened the last bottle, 30 years ago? Yes, on your 150th name day? Exactly. Sorry. Illyria, this is your...
You said 30 years.
It's been 30 years since we've had a bottle.
You're
Out of character. There was something else.
Am I 180? Oh,
something-
no. She celebrated her 150th 30 years ago. She's 180, yes. I mean, he looks kind of similar. Pointing to Soren, do you have Ferellan in you as well? Has the seed of my brother sown far on Cyorion?
No, I'm afraid not. We have, they're referred to as elves where we come from, but as you can see, I don't have the complexion. We have, I suppose some of them are, well, I suppose it's more varied, but we don't have the eyesight issues that you seem to have. In fact, we can survive quite well in the day.
What?
I know. Though I don't typically go outside much. But no, I would be considered what, I suppose, like Turok here, half-blood.
Oh. Well, I bear no ill will to the dilution of a bloodline. If you find someone that you love, by all means, have a child.
Yes.
At least that's what I would say, given...
I was told my father was human. I don't know. Never met him.
Well...
In Cyorion, our kind is referred to as dark elves.
Interesting. I can see why. I mean, we do have... He kind of like holds up his hand towards Soren.
Mm-hmm.
The
Gonna hold up with it.
The purples and blue hues. I could see that, yes. Makes sense to me.
There are elves as well that are, I suppose, darker complexion, but they're more warm colors, browns, things of that sort.
I'd very much like to visit this place. Well, and Illyria has been pouring small glasses, about 2 ounces in size for each of you, is being very careful and pours with great dexterity to not lose a single drop. And she pours an extra glass next to Tarak for herself, and she raises a glass and says a toast in a foreign language that none of you understand except for Soren, who has tongues cast on him at this point.
Oh, right.
Does
that let me just understand all language?
Sound at all familiar to
Tarak? I believe he casts tongues on Soren and Tarak, and you guys have been translating kind of since you guys... That's right. Barrick did put tongues on both of you, and tongues allows you to, when a language is spoken, any spoken language it hears is translated to a language for you. So she says the toast, and the rest of you, this whole conversation's been in a foreign language. She says a toast in the same language. Those of you that speak Elven, so I think Maximiel speaks Elven. I can't recall if Doran does.
I do.
So it sounds...
I got common, draconic, primordial, and elvish.
Sounds
He is a very well-learned barbarian.
First time I've made a barbarian that didn't have int as a dump stat, so...
It sounds vaguely Elven. The same flowing of letters and consonants, no real hard consonants. You assume there's about 100 apostrophes per sentence, but it sounds like, you know, a breeze through trees, water babbling through a brook. Very flowing and elegant language, but the words are completely foreign to you. So those that speak Elven, this is a far, far distant cousin than Elven, but it seems to have the same kind of structure. It's very interesting. The translation roughly is, a blessing to the Dark Star to cover us through all of our travels.
Don't like that.
So, you guys toast. Does everybody drink? Does anybody not drink? The two of them enthusiastically drink. Diggin does not drink because he was not given a drink.
Dagan is still unconscious, right?
Diggin is still unconscious. Okay. Yeah, we need to fix him at some point.
Tarak downs it all.
Take a sip of it. What does it taste like?
Menthol, minty, very, very clean and crisp. And then as soon as the initial minty overload hits you, very sweet with a tart. Like it's almost like eating a sour blueberry tart. So it's a very interesting wine that starts with a very minty front end and has a very sweet and tart back end. I can see that you don't have anything like this where you come from, but it is a delicacy. And
we do not.
I only have one bottle left, so I am pleased to share this with you. Whether you enjoy the experience or not, live life to the fullest, right?
If you can.
Either way, let's see. I thank you, Illyria. She has many duties she tends to.
Call you that.
Absolutely.
So the stories my father told me, they were true then. They're the stories of his home.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, I could tell you about the expedition and how we got here. I could tell you all about Eterna and my home. Which would the lot of you prefer? We have the day. I have no reason to rush through this conversation. Please, enjoy yourselves.
I'd like to know if you have plans on getting back.
We have had lots of plans to get back, and they have all worked swimmingly, as you can see. You don't need an insight check to feel the sarcasm just radiating off of him.
I want to hear of my father's home.
Eterna is a beautiful place and terrifying. We've been searching for better means of travel. There's hard to describe the feeling of everyday living next to just an endless chasm like the Great Maw that we live next to. There is a sea on my world that exists in the center of it, and we refer to it as the Great Maw. And Illyria at this point is coming around handing the rest of you a necklace that has a little earpiece on it that she's got one on herself now, and she shows you, and she like points to her ear, and there's a little clasp that goes up around your ear for Doran and for Maximiel.
Because you're getting translators.
It's an interesting little necklace that kind of clips up onto your ear, or in Doran's case, like a spot on the scales near where your ear holes would be. She kind of looks at you strangely and is like, hands it to you and asks
Don't
you.
worry, I know what to do with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys put those on?
Yep.
Okay. As soon as you do, you each take 4 points of piercing damage as this thing kind of sinks into your ear and pinches you really hard. And she goes, and you understand her perfectly. I'm sorry. This is a interesting device that we have that helps to ease communication. We meet lots of strange species, and this helps, but it hurts a little bit. I'm sorry. The pain will go away soon, but it's a small price to pay to be able to have a conversation with someone you've never met.
I've had
Nice
far
to
worse
meet
pain
you.
in my life.
Good to meet you. And now at this point, you turn and Tessoj looks at you. Oh, excellent. I see that she's made this conversation a bit easier for everyone. We'll be, unfortunately, needing those back as we have a very limited supply of them. But for this case, we figured it was acceptable use. So, what can be said by the Maw, except it is akin to living next to a great beast that hungers to consume you every day for your entire life. The terror drowns out, as it were.
This is something that lived in the ocean?
It is the ocean. It is a massive, hundreds of miles wide whirlpool that exists and pulls everything to its center. And we, in Eterna, live on there is a ring of sorts of land and great, massive, jagged mountain peaks and loping valleys in the low points where the water runs through from the Arctic sea ring. And we can find places of calm to grow our cities and nurture our young. And we found a few of these points around this landmass around the Maw. But, we eke out the existence we can. There are many strange creatures that call Eterna their home. And it is a strange place to live when death is your neighbor and is in the sky above you. We are home to great floating islands, massive mountains of rock and stone that hover, some few hundred miles above our homes. And
Really?
They float out there, and our understanding is, and the reason we've been researching these ley lines, is we believe they anchor them to Eterna. And we have found these threads of magic that run through the world, and stumbled upon one of these gates. There have been creatures that live in the mountains, terrible fiends and devils that have claimed most of these places for their own, but we found one inside of our king's domain. And as you might deduce, King Vasoth sent us, and we were on the 3rd expedition.
Hence the name.
The first two had fought their way all the way to the portal and managed to clear it out. The last man to come back came back barely alive, babbling madness, and his mind completely rotted, but he was alive. Our scouts indicated it was clear, so we went.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said the one person who made it back said that he was insane beyond recognition, and your scouts concluded it was fine to go.
The piles of bodies indicated that it was fine to go. The rest of the expedition, the second expedition, died fighting, and he was the last one to make it out. And there was no more threat, so we went. And that's
Who were they fighting?
it's strange creatures. One's tall as a man, with tentacles on their face that would reach into your mind and speak evils to you. Floating eye stalks and creatures with large gibbering mouths that would destroy the very magic in front of them. You know, we even believed Noldrith was involved. This
What?
is among those floating mountain homes is a great and terrible beast of darkness that thankfully is less interested in us than it is the dark star that it keeps company up there among the great mountains. It is I have read we have a son too, and it is the dark star of Eterna. And that must be why my brother was so sensitive in your world, with all of its bright, shining lights. As you can see in the camp here, this is why we retreated to this tent. It's about as bright as we can handle. The outside, kind of outside, you all get the sense that it is a very kind of dusky. Are you killing this man?
No,
was that
sorry,
the
my
cat
cat stepped on my keyboard.
I was like, the cat's like murder.
No, did you say Noldreth? Did I just get lore dumped and now
Un poquito,
cross-platformed? Go shit.
un poquito, Lord Dump. Shut up, Josh. Dude, it all ties in. Everything. All three campaigns have little bits of each other.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah, aside from the cat trying to kill this poor man. Cats are just murder
Doing
monsters.
a decent job of it.
I know, he rolled really well too. Jeez, get the cat back up here. Yes, so there have been others before you. None have mentioned Cyorion by name. The others we've found remnants, journals, scraps of clothes, bodies. But we've read about dragons, these dragons that you have in Cyorion, I guess, but Noldrith would be akin to one of them. He is a great, well, they are a great winged dragon made of madness and darkness and stars.
Oh, good.
Yes. Thankfully, Noldrith tends not to bother us. Is more concerned with something in the maw. There have been witnesses that say they have seen Noldrith dive into the maw only to come back days later. If we could survive a trip to the maw, we would tell you. However, the unfortunate thing is as well, the reason that we know that we're close to home is twice we have spotted Noldrith flying through this very cave.
Oh, fuck.
That's what we said.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
The water that
So,
pours in, is that from the Great Maw?
We've postulated the same, but there's some crack where the maw has entered here, and we haven't seen Noldrith ever enter, but we've spotted him once flying from the mountaintops at the other side of the island, and once circling Kosoba. Oh, wow, I did it. I knew I would freaking do it after you called Kosoba Kadoba. I knew I would do it one time, and I just called it Kadoba. Dang it. Thanks, Sarah.
I want the quesadilla.
now it's canon. Ha!
My Daytona.
Yeah, really.
Oh, no.
I almost forgot about that.
I have not. It haunts my dreams.
Just like the goth.
The goth. We've once seen them circling Kosoba Prime, the city near the center of the island. But it's been some time since we've seen Noldrith. Thankfully, they don't appear often, but there's something about this place that draws strange magics here. It is, from our research, it is very clearly some nexus of ley lines for our home, and
That's been my working understanding of it thus far as well.
Maybe there's a portal to your world from here. But I can tell you what happened to my brother now, I believe. Thinking over all of this. Because when we were studying the portal, it became active. And the militia force that was with us, your brother, or my brother, your father among them, was responsible for the safety of my team, the research team, and we were in charge of all the research, and then the expedition workforce, well, you can see how they've grown around you outside. We brought our finest laborers with us who were signed up for the project, knowing it was dangerous and wanting to explore and dig into the deepest places of Eterna. However, upon the portal activating, we were instructed to wait. And so, my brother led his team through the maw of this portal when it activated. And we waited for nearly a full day. And then the portal began to flicker. And drawing on my great and wise leadership experience, being concerned for the safety of my brother, I led what remained of our force through the portal, and we ended up here.
If I may, I'm curious. There was a very specific methodology by how we came here. The portal, I suppose, that transported us to this place. Was there, I suppose, a riddle or some sort of mechanism by which you activated yours, or was it more simple? You don't speak of any sort of process by which you came here. You just found the place and you stepped in.
Illyria peeks in from the back room. I have a theory. Working theory, of course, but it's a theory nonetheless.
Do tell. I love a good theory.
We have the islands that float above Eterna, and as we've told you before, we've believed that they are anchored to Eterna by ley lines.
Right.
We measure our cycles. I believe you call them years. I've
passage
heard
of time.
Yes, we've read them as years in the journals of the people we found from Cyorion, but we refer to them as cycles. It has to do with the shifting of the islands and which constellations are visible. My theory is that since the islands shift in a predictable pattern, twice per cycle, this portal activates for a brief time when the ley line passes through it. The portal seemed, from my studies, out of place, as if it was forced there. It was put into that place against its will and stuck and anchored in rock that it did not belong in. It desired.
You think the portal has a will of its own?
I feel that it must be attached to the ley line somehow. That if it could be free with the ley line, it would follow it. But we found that it activated on a predictable cycle. We expected it to activate when it did, and when it did, they were instructed to go through. The first of our third expeditionary force.
Do you think that my father was here also, or is it possible that the portal had put him into a different place already and then put you here? Since you went in.
So speaks up again. Frankly, we thought he was dead. We landed on this side of the island, found no evidence of any movement around this portal. This gate, as it were, was undisturbed. There were no footprints, no sign of a struggle, and so we set up camp. And as we began to explore, we discovered the oozes, the jellies, as our folks refer to them sometimes, far to the west.
They come from.
So
We don't know where they came from.
Either my father's party was put into Cyorion or went through the portal and was placed there immediately, or there exists a way to Cyorion from here that they have found, but you have not.
It's possible.
Clearly, ended up there.
There is one other gate, but we saw no evidence here of anyone being here. When our feet disturbed the dust around this place, they were the first in a long time.
Which means that the same portal can bring you to different places depending on when you go through it.
I mean, that's a good theory. You came through a different portal completely, and there, like I said, there is a third portal too that we've never been able to get to, unfortunately.
Where is it?
Are we entirely sure that the passage of time works the same here as it does where we hail from, or where you come from?
Well, that's easy.
Be sure of anything.
I think we can. Tarak, how old is your father?
My father is now 230.
No, it does not pass the same.
Shit.
If we had aged at the same rate, he would be 150 now.
It's only mildly different.
Yes, because we've been here for 40 years.
Yeah.
And 120 have passed where you're from.
Wait,
Wait, you've been here for 40 years? I thought you... No, you did mention that. No, you're right.
so you're telling me that time passes slowly here, so that back home it could have already been like months since we left.
I
Or
don't
at least
believe it's.
me.
I believe
way
it
around.
might not twice as fast. I don't think it's that big of a difference. Yet it is still concerning, and
Okay, hold on. You got
Again,
me
we.
out of character timeout. You got me questioning my math now.
Wouldn't it be the other way around?
It is supposed to be
faster
there.
faster in Cyorion, yeah.
So weeks passed there while a week
Oh,
passed
well,
yes,
here.
yes,
Right.
yep. It is a 3-to-1 ratio.
Shit.
Like,
3 times faster there.
right.
3 weeks pass on
Okay, right.
Cyorion, and the time a week passes in Kosoba.
Then we should probably try to figure out a way home, Soren.
We need to get out of here very quickly.
You
Were we thinking of taking our time here before this?
Not any more time than is absolutely necessary. No offense, Tarak. I'm glad you have met your family, but
Right.
this is
I mean,
bad.
I was entertaining the idea of spending some time here for trying to figure out at least some answers, but I mean, if we're going to be stuck here for 3 times as long back home, it does narrow down our options.
Lower view.
And
it's very
we
concerning.
know that the portals will put us there at a certain time. Maybe the portals, maybe the times at which the portals place us are different as well.
Boy.
That's a
This
good question.
is-
When
So perhaps time did not pass differently. It was just no.
when your expeditions returned, how long did they say they were gone for?
We were the first through the portal.
Right, so when you were in here the first time, how long were you here?
We were the first through, and we've never been home.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
We have been stuck here for 40 years.
For 40 years. Which means 100.
What color was on his face is very much starting to fade. He's a little nauseous at this point.
Nauseous from, like, the food or the conversation?
Just the conversation, suddenly realizing how much time has passed and the implications of that.
So, where haven't you looked yet? You said this place is filled with danger.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Portal somewhere.
Yes, and the time on Eterna may be passing differently than on Cyorion.
Yeah,
So
Also,
just
It's-
because it times longer or faster on Cyorion, maybe it's the same in Eterna, or maybe it's slower.
That is
So you
true.
may not have been
I have no idea.
as long as you have.
I find your perspective refreshing. Thank you, Turok. As we do
It's
know
always been
that since we have seen Noldrith, we do know at least we are near to Eterna. Getting you all
Does he
home.
appear on a cycle as well, or is it random?
No, we have only seen him twice. There appears to be no rhyme or reason to it. Some of the
Not enough to determine.
you have as much a
Does he
chance
appear
of
in the-
seeing him here as we do again ever.
Does it appear in a determinate place or fashion or anything like that? Is there a sound, sight
No.
that harkens
As I
his
said,
coming? No.
once he was spotted over the mountains to the northwest, and once spotted circling Kosoba proper. Now that is interesting.
Did he
If
look-
you
I mean, you know its behavior. Did it look lost, or did it look like it was looking for something?
it very much looked like it was looking for something.
Then those are our destinations.
The mountain was 25 years ago, and
All right.
Kosoba proper 5 years ago. By the mountain, you said what is over there?
Yeah, no. How long ago was that? I'm sorry, Ben, I missed that. I'm taking notes for Sarah.
25 years, Noldrith was spotted over the mountain, and 5 years ago, Noldrith was spotted over Kosoba proper. Man, I kind of want to steal that drawing, Nate, now that I see it. I glanced over at the Discord. That is a really cool drawing for this. Yeah.
It was so funny because like the way I designed it was that the crystal like would just burrow itself into your ear like one of those like molding earplug things.
Yeah.
And the chain would just kind of wrap around your ear and like fix to your skull basically. Yeah.
That's cool. I like it.
That's sweet.
It's very cool. Nate does some
This is what
phenomenal art.
Dougie's-
Yeah. I do.
Mountains. You said
Um,
Kosoba proper was the name of the city?
That's what we
Prime or something?
it's proper is what we refer to it. This whole island, as far as we know, is one large sprawling city. That the gates were all connected, and people may have traveled through here a long time ago and shared knowledge and learned things, but we've never made it into the city itself.
Have you seen
And-
the statues?
Yes, we have. We've seen the statues from a distance. Quite interesting, the fact that they're parallel in nature.
Oh,
They look Farallon from a distance, slightly.
that would imply that your people have been here before enough to set up statues.
That would, which is what we found very interesting, but we've never been close enough. The roaches are a problem.
The what?
Roaches.
This is the best word we have for them. Roaches.
I'm assuming you're not talking about the ones that are about yay big.
No, more about yay big.
Larger, yes, of course. Perfect.
Yes,
Fuck.
It's always bugs
We
around
need to
here.
turn on digging. We need digging.
We need to, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of
Maximilian,
stabbing in
if
the
you have
future, I
any of
see.
your lightning powers available, now would be a good time, I think.
Well, my suggestion, as you decide where to go, we know that we have never been to the other portal because of the roaches. They own that remnant of whatever that city is, and we see groups of them moving around Sova proper. And we know that they're interested, to say the least.
So they have an
You say
organization
groups of them.
consciousness.
How large are the groups?
Yes, how many?
4 to 8. I've seen one slay 4 of my men, though. Or heard. I have never. I should apologize. I've seen, as in I've sat here and heard, and I do have magic with memories and can see some, so I do get the chance to witness through survivor's eyes. But small tricks.
I have a proposition for you.
Sure, I'll hear it.
One way or another, we're going to get out of this fucking hellhole. If you would like to come up with us, there is a good possibility that we might be able to get you back to our home. Granted, it's not your destination of choice, but I think it might be better than staying here. Come with us. Help.
I would say if Tarak's father and the other members of our expeditionary force died in whatever hellscape you're from, I'm not sure if we want to go. But I would be interested in...
I promise you, it's quite beautiful.
Interested in following and...
May be beautiful to you because you grew up there. But believe me, to the Ferallan that came there, it was hell. And it was not friendly.
A fair point.
Oh, maybe if we're with you lot, it'll be a lot more friendly. I think we need a...
We didn't come here by chance. We had a specific purpose to come here. And I can promise you the people that sent us here would be happy to receive you.
Well, I think if we're going to make this happen, we are going to need a bit of a plan, I would say. As I said, the Roaches own a large portion of the northeastern section of this island, and at this point, Illyria lays out a large map. And I can reveal the whole map to you guys. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Boom.
Oh,
DM, so
it's a big
a question. So you said that there were about 60 people?
There are about 60 or 70 that you saw in camp. Yep.
Okay, so how many of these are Ferallan and how many are other races?
2.
Yeah, like what's the makeup?
2 are Ferallan.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
the rest of them are these 2 that you have seen. Yeah. The Soj and Illyria are the only 2 you've seen. And the rest of the camp was made up of about 90% deep gnomes, and then what kind of resembles dwarfs in your eyes, but very dark-skinned dwarfs. Black and charcoal skins.
So Tarak is going to ask, well, we know how you came here. Do you know how the others got here?
Oh, they were with us. You mean the rest of my camp?
They were.
Yeah, these were our laborers, and deep gnomes tend to be... Yeah, you never have... Sometimes your mind asks you strange questions, postulates weird things, but never when you're... Oh, ignore the markers way over here that I was using for tracking combat. Excuse me, let me squeeze these off. There we go. Okay, goodbye.
And sync to your screen. I turned off syncing to mine.
Oh, well then I will turn off syncing on mine as well, and just let it do its thing over here.
There you go.
Yeah. There's questions and statements you never think you have to say to people, like, hey, you're of age now. You're not having to be very sneaky about all of your flirtatious advances. Please drink alcohol and help speed that process up and, repopulate the workforce. And it's been a very strange 40 years, and deep gnomes are quite vigorous in their repopulation efforts. They've been helpful at keeping the workforce engaged. And
He said they arrived 3 generations ago. That's 40 years for them?
They were very vigorous getting the workforce
No.
repopulated.
How? That means they live for what, 10 years, 15 years?
They reach maturity at a quick age. They live. I don't know how many years is to a cycle, but where we're from, they live on 60, 70 cycles. Yeah, on average.
As interesting as the biological longevity of these people is,
Fair point.
You must
I
forgive
want
me.
to bring up perhaps an obvious question. You're from Eterna, and you came in from the portal outside of camp, yes?
Yes, the one behind us.
The one very close.
Yeah,
We are from
he like pulls back the
Cyorion.
flap, and there's a portal in eyesight.
Yes.
You can see it.
We are from Cyorion, and we came in from the portal in the Slime City. Right, Soren?
Yes. Well, just outside of it, but yes.
This third...
Uh-oh.
Oh.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Lauren
No.
glitches too. No.
I'll avenge you!
It's the worm one. It got him.
It's a great scheme.
Dude,
They're onto
Soren
us.
first.
Yeah, Thorn pulled it again. That is a
Little.
great digging impersonation there, Zach.
Little did you know, this has been my plan the whole time. You all start to glitch. Cha!
No, that's my plan.
Oh,
Oh, he had a power outage.
unfortunate.
bummer.
Zach had a power outage.
Now we all wait on bated breath to find out what his question was, because I'm really invested.
I don't
Sounded
know.
good.
Oh, he's coming.
He's making his way back.
His which
We are
or where?
holding the train of thought as best as possible. So, about our sponsors, copious amounts of alcohol and coping mechanisms that are bad for your health. How's everybody
They're
doing?
not our sponsors.
That's great.
We don't have any.
What's an alcohol?
Oh, not everybody. Aren't you like overseas somewhere where it's legal if you're like 16 or 15?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh yeah,
You're in the
overseas.
you're in the crib and they're like, "Do you want a bottle of formula tonight, or would you like a bottle of Michelob?" And I say that as a joke because, funny story, my loving father watched me for a girls' night out one time when he was in the army. My mother goes out for the ladies' night out, comes home to me with a half a grilled cheese sandwich in a high chair and a bottle of Michelob Light with a baby nipple on it. Yes, good times
Oh, man.
had by all. And now our camera's gonna be all wonky. Whoa.
What? Whoa.
Well, I would mess with it, but
Everything's ruined.
we will be back shortly. So, anyways, so we had some fun theories offline too. If we wanted to fill some airtime, Soren got excited. We're on another planet, I believe the scream was at the end of the game there last week.
I think so, but now I'm not so sure it's a planet. I think we're inside of like a nexus.
Yeah.
Hold on, write that down. Write that down.
Because like once he started talking about the maw, I was like, ooh. Because like I'm okay, out of character. I'm pretty sure I know what the maw is. I'm pretty sure it's that like one from Keora Maps.
Keora Maps.
It's maybe not. It's like a whole like the
Oh,
creature is the
Yes.
map.
Yes.
I'll give you some behind the scenes. Not that.
What are the chances we're on one of those floating islands?
That would be cool too. Welcome back,
It's
Zach.
that. In case you ever feel like
Ooh.
making us fight it.
Oh man, now I want it to be a monster.
I
Goodness.
may or may not have thrown it at my players at one point. Because I'm a
Goodness.
bastard.
That is really cool.
Okay. No.
Anyway, so once he was talking about like the maw and how it like sucks in water, I was like, oh, we saw water pouring in from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That was
Yeah,
that
that's
was what Sarah was thinking. That's a good thought.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be a. Now, I haven't done too much fluid dynamics in my day, but pretty sure that
I feel like that's not
go-
true at all. I feel like both Sarah and Maximil have probably done a lot of fluid dynamics.
The fact that you know the phrase fluid dynamics clearly means you know more about it than me. So I'm like,
Okay.
I bowed out a while.
Yay! Welcome back, Zach.
I know about people and feelings, and that's it.
That was the most dramatic timing for a blackout I've
It
ever
really
had in my
was.
entire
It was so
It was
good.
great.
Okay.
So,
You digging?
yeah, a little
you
bit.
definitely
Yeah.
put it again.
All right.
I'm saving
So,
that for
since-
next time. Don't worry.
Sincerest apologies.
Oh, it
As I was in the
happens.
middle of trying to convey. So if we came in through that portal and they came in through this portal and there's a third portal up there, where does that portal lead?
I don't know, but I don't want to go there. I want to go home.
Yes, exactly. That's my thought process
Maybe
as well.
going there is the way to go home. Like these two are entrances, and that one's an exit. Possibly. It would be, but it's not like this place makes a lot of sense.
That's fair. Speaking of, what the fuck is below us? Do you know what that is?
We haven't the slightest. No.
Okay, because I sent my pet down there and it got ripped to shreds as it was trying to escape.
What did you see?
Arms, mandibles, teeth, fingers, I suppose.
Pony, you said.
It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've seen horrible things thus far.
Wow.
It broke him.
Oh, that's what broke your
Not
friend.
literally. I suppose we broke him.
Oh.
I broke him. Never mind. Never mind.
Hey, Valeria, have you looked at that one? Kind of
Please tell me you know how to
looks,
fix him.
looks back over to dig in.
Wait, that one? Have you seen other ones?
Yes, remember they mentioned that they had seen, or someone here had worked with other Yoruga? You call them?
We've seen the Urega before. That one's interesting. I've only seen one other
You
one.
have no idea.
I've only seen one other one like it. Is he prone to bouts of violence?
Excessive, but only if you
Really?
ask him to, or if you attack him first, really.
Does he do the whole relentless face stabbing thing?
Yeah, it's his favorite thing. But again, only if you attack him first, or
Oh, he
in a
doesn't
weird
do
way,
it.
if we tell him to do it.
He doesn't just
Usually we
do
direct
it.
his stabbing. We don't let him just stab anyone.
Yeah, no. Often
Well,
it's
very
we are telling him
right.
not to stab people.
Interesting. Barrick has the most experience with them, but we heard stories about people who had found one that were doing research and trying to figure out exactly how it worked and sting
What? Yeah.
various spells out to get it. Oh no, not here. This was back home.
Oh.
Casting various spells on it to try to get it to work, and you know, it had come to life and killed everybody in the room. And we've seen other ones that aren't exactly like him, but were much nicer. They're very helpful. Those ones have been wonderful. This
Out of character question, Ben. Are constructs a thing? Like non-Eurig constructs, like golems and stuff like that?
very rarely.
Okay.
Artificers exist. They make constructs. There's simulacrum exist, but they're really so Busat would have some constructs because it's a large enough city to have the magical infrastructure in place, like working class blue collar wizards. Totally a thing.
Oh, cool.
And if they come across, like if one of them happens to be oh my gosh, the word just escaped me all of a sudden. The class that I
Carpenter.
literally just said. I said the class.
Artificer.
Artificer. I wanted to say arcanist for some reason. If an artificer is working with a crew of wizards, they will work together to make clockwork or mechanical constructs or automatons to do stuff. But the Yurig are special because they are so different and they are discovered. They're not made by
Right.
anybody.
And they apparently have them where they're from. Cough.
Yes, we've seen a couple like him. But where did you guys find him? Is he here? Was he over in the Ooze village?
No.
We've been traveling with him for a while.
Yes.
Before you came here?
He came.
Quite some time.
It's interesting.
About a month or so.
I've had theories that teleportation could go as far as between worlds. I wonder if these gates are older than we think.
Teleportation's not real.
Why else would you be studying the gates?
I'm kidding. It's just we've lost the art. We don't know how it works.
You have too. We had rumors that it existed before, and we found the magic on the gates, and we're convinced that with enough work we could figure out how to make it work again. But
do you mind if I spend some time with your gate? Inspecting it, copying
By all
things
means.
down, things of that sort.
By all means, go ahead.
Right. Is it legible?
Oh, yeah, we've cleaned it as best we could and try to keep it in good shape if it should ever activate again. Did you get much time with the one at the Ooze village, or did that pretty much happen?
None at all. We got our bearings and trekked onwards towards the only light that we could see and got ambushed by bait oozes. Anyway.
Well, you'll find these ones are much more legible. The one back home was difficult to read, had rocks overgrowing pieces of it, was very hard. This one's very legible.
Right, well, I'm going to go do that for a while. I'd be remorse to come back with nothing.
If you don't mind, I'll get Barrick and we'll try to get your friend working again.
Oh, thank you.
Could I try something real quick? Because I know I didn't do this before. And can I zap him?
Yeah. Diggin,
Just do anything.
Constitution saving throw, Diggin.
Come back to it.
Constitution saving throw. Boo, boo, doo, boo, doo, boo, boo. A6.
Diggin's arms drop from the hug, and they're just laying limp by his side.
Now he's a ragdoll. Do it again. Maybe he'll T-pose.
Just do again? Or are you being silly?
Oh, I'm gone. I left.
I mean,
Tried one more time.
All right.
one more time can't hurt.
As she's over there, zapping, Tasoj will talk to Doran and Tarak. If you don't mind, I think we could do a bit of strategizing here and come to a little bit of a plan. And have some idea for how we want to do this.
Depends on which gate we end up going toward. I mean, if we end up going toward the one with the roaches, the plan is basically we're going to have to do a lot of combat, Tarak.
Dig in, make another Constitution save as she zaps you again.
Okie doke. Give me a second. Boop. Constitution saving throw. A 10.
I put it in my head if he failed by 15 or more, he was going to. Diggin goes into a T-pose. His arms go straight out to his side. He goes into a T-pose.
Maximil, I don't think that's going to get us anywhere, but thank you for the valiant attempt.
That's enough for that.
Illyria, you might hurt him if you keep doing that. I'm a little worried that you're going to hurt the inside pieces that do all the whirring and moving.
I kind of ignore him, and I try to read Diggin's mind using the Detect Thoughts medallion.
It's like trying to read the thoughts of a rock. It's not that the rock has no thoughts, it's that there's nothing there to complete the spell around. You reach your mind out and try to grasp onto something, but there's nothing there right now.
Even if I try to read deep thoughts and
Sure, you can absolutely try.
Okay.
Go ahead. You gonna activate it and do that?
I'm going to activate it.
What's the
I
saving?
have to roll.
What's the saving throw on that?
I think it's a wisdom, but I will bring it up.
Dig in. Whatever it is, make that saving throw at disadvantage.
DC 13.
What is the check? Wisdom?
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom.
At disadvantage.
Disadvantage. Natural one.
Nice.
13.
Sarah, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh-oh.
Fun! I'm not good at those.
Oh dear.
Come on, Mom Die.
Oh, pretty good.
Natural 19. For a
Hey!
total of 19.
Total of 19.
hmm
Uh-oh.
Oh.
You take 9 points of psychic damage as
Ooh.
you just unleash a cacophony of thousands and thousands of screaming voices, all in immense pain, screaming as if they're being tortured in a pit. All you can hear and feel is the chill and the pain running up and down your spine as the screams encircle your thoughts and send you falling to the floor.
Yeah. Karak rushes over to Maximil. Maximil, what is happening? Are you alright? Maximil. Sauron, come back here.
I'm outside. Oh, interesting. Do I hear the screams, the cacophony?
No,
Yeah, is that just in her mind?
That
That's
is
just in her
completely-
mind, right?
that's completely in
Probably.
Maximil's mind.
Yeah,
Maxim-
Maximil.
yelling?
do you scream, Maximil?
Yes.
Okay, you hear Maximil
Yes.
scream, absolutely.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
The pain is short, the voices are brief, and you're fully back in consciousness, but for a moment there, the moment it's felt like you were trapped in a room with 1,000 voices screaming at you and everything was black around you, but as suddenly as the moment came, it vanishes from your mind and your eyes clear, and you're lying on the ground.
I've run back in through the tent, rapier drawn. What?
DeSoja's got another drink and he's like, over there.
Maximil tried to read Diggins' thoughts, and then she just screamed and collapsed.
Went pretty well.
That's pretty well. What the
That
fuck?
did not
What?
No.
pretty well.
All right. Well,
Was it painful?
Not-
What? I'm confused.
yes, actually, yes, it was. I'm not feeling too hot right now, but I heard thousands of voices suddenly in my head, and it sounded like they were screaming in pain, and I felt cold, and I felt the same pain, and that's what he's thinking right now. That is what was in Diggins' head.
Beautiful. I have no idea how to handle that. I don't really think I can fix that.
But at least right now we know. And we have some sort of inclination as to what's happening, and now we just need to figure out why.
Do you think he is suffering as much as you were just for that moment? Do you think he's suffering as much the whole time?
I hope not.
Ooh, that's a horrifying thought. I'm going to go find that
I mean,
mechanic.
he doesn't seem to be. He doesn't seem to be terrified when he wakes up. And I still vividly remember what happened.
Yes, but we know he does not remember the same way we do.
Good point.
I'm gonna go look for that. What was his name? Barrick.
Yeah, about that time, Illyria comes back in with Barrick. She ran to get him
wonderful.
as soon as she was messing with. As soon as Maximil was kind of messing with her and with Diggin, she went to get Barrick. And Barrick looks down and sees you on the floor. What'd you do?
I read his mind.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't do that with these ones. They're pretty fucking bad from what I know.
I don't mean to be rude, but no shit. I kind of figured that out at this point.
Yep.
Do we know why? I mean, that doesn't even make sense.
Killer automaton.
would
What
you
else? What else do you need to know?
A lot. I need to know a lot of things.
I just don't trust them. If this is what Illyria thinks it is, these are the ones that you just don't mess with. We don't have enough information, but we have the story of the one that went crazy and killed everybody in that room.
Our friend has not given us any reason to believe that he would ever do anything like that.
Well,
It's true.
pray he stays your friend then. And with that, we will take our break.
No, that is a terrifying thought.
Oh my god.
All right.
Well,
I don't want to fight Diggin.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Dig into
We'll be back. Just going to take a quick 5-10 minute break here. And stick around. We'll see you guys soon. And we're back. And this time I unmuted you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it first. I was like, unmute them first, then unmute me. Okay. I'm learning.
All trained here.
Absolutely.
We're figuring it out. Wow. Why is Sarah so regal? Look at her.
I'm a trained professional.
Yes.
You have a what? Oh,
I'm
you're
a trained professional.
You are. Man, I'm a total amateur in here. Jeez. So, Maximiel just had her brain exploded by some strange screaming. You guys have a map of what they've got figured as Kosoba. And Soren was going to go take a look at some runes while Illyria and Barrick work on digging, try to get him operational again. As you're getting ready to walk back out, Soren.
Mm-hmm.
Illyria kind of leans in and whispers to you and presses a piece of paper into your hand. And she just very carefully whispers in your ear so nobody else can hear. Use this only when it's most necessary.
Can I like very subtly like look at it and see if I can identify what it is?
It is a word on a piece of paper.
What does this mean? I don't know when to use it if I don't know what it is.
She's already kind of moved away and gotten back to work. And this is kind of immediately after the Maximiel screaming, digging Chucky thingy. So, and she's already with Barrick working on digging. It was very quick, and she just gave it to you and moved on.
Do I know what this word means?
You don't have a translation for that word, no. Like tongues does not apply to written.
Right, but like I don't recognize what language it is or like what it would translate to.
It appears to be written in common, like it's written so you can read it in common. So whatever it means, she translated it for you to a way for you to pronounce it.
Okay. To that later then. I'll just kind of like take out my my spell book, flip to the back page, and just very quickly like scribble that onto kind of my notes page, and just what did she say? Use it only when you need it.
Yeah, use it only when it's most necessary.
Okay, use it only when it's most necessary, and just like scribble that next to the word.
Okay.
And then just underneath that, whatever the fuck that means. And then go and kind of do some work on copying down some of the sigils or whatever I find at the gate.
Maximiel, you said you were going with Soren. Is that correct?
Yes. I'd
Correct.
like to do some study.
Sure. So not to get bogged down in too much of the minutia, but Soj offers up kind of a plan to Tarak and Doran from a strategy mindset. He believes that the best case scenario is if the gate by the roaches is overrun, impossible to get through, but some of these people would be willing to sacrifice themselves for a way home for everyone. I believe the answer lies in Kosovo proper. If we were to launch a feinted attack against the roaches, while the rest of us, they seem to respond when with some sort of hive mind. When someone else is in danger, they will flee. And if enough of them are concerned, and we send a large enough force, we may be able to trick them in pulling back from Kosovo proper and make our way into the interior of the city.
Divert their attention. It is good tactical strategy.
It's the only thing we could think of that would work, and we've never really had a reason to sacrifice everyone before, but to get the young ones home.
I hesitate to have your people make that sacrifice, though.
They understand that if it's a sacrifice or die here, they may want to try to get some of their people home.
To use the spell to create a diversion.
There are casters among them. Some of them are talented in the ways of magic. It does not have to be the bulk of our forces. Just the majority of them would go there and create a diversion, and the casters among them would go with them and help to create that. And then the rest of us can make our way into Kosoba proper.
I think if we do this with the minimum amount that we can spare to do this, it could work. You have your few warriors who are willing, and you have some casters to back them up, perhaps make illusions to make the army look bigger and more imposing.
I think so as well. And then, once you have whatever information you need, you come set the rest of us free and take us all home with you. We'll be in the city proper with you, and my thinking is that there may be a gate there as well. Like, we've studied this for long enough. Why build a village around a place that there is no gate? The only other place that we've seen that does not have one is the base of the mountains, but we really haven't gotten close enough there either. We know there's a very large tree that a small town is built around, but we think from seeing it from afar, it may have just been more of a religious site, not really a place to move people in and out like these other places have been.
Well, then I think our best bet would be to try Kosoba, see if there is a gate there that would lead out of this place. Failing that, I don't know. We'll have to redouble our efforts with the other gates that we have found.
Kosoba proper is a much larger place. The few times we've been close, it is a larger, sprawling city. It was definitely the heart of this greater city area. But I believe that we can either find a portal there or find the knowledge to get us home.
But you said you were not sure whether there's a portal there.
I don't know for certain, but I do know for certain that the knowledge we're looking for is there.
Perhaps great libraries of information that I am sure Sorin will love.
Well, if he would like to spend the lives of his loved ones wasting away in Kosoba to study it, I'm sure they would accommodate him.
He very much would sometimes, but no, we will keep him on task.
Very well. We will get with our troops and begin the planning.
Do you have any idea where that knowledge might lie?
I've never been to the interior of Kosoba proper. It is a large city, and we know that the light comes from a massive domed structure in the middle of the city. Large enough to hold multiple buildings itself. We know that's where the light generates from, so my assumption would be whatever great arcane power there is would be within that building, and potentially the tomes that have the knowledge on how that all works.
I think that we will be able to find that relatively easy, Tarak.
I agree. I am wondering if we can perhaps just try to sneak our way in. Perhaps this sacrifice is not necessary.
It depends on how many of those roaches, you said, are inhabiting the city.
Depends on why the roaches haven't moved in past the exterior of the city, too. What else is inside? So you will be the tip of that spear.
We have faced many dangers in the past. I believe we are equipped to handle any challenge that may come our way, but we definitely need to be at full strength, which means we need digging.
Barrack is over in the corner. Working on it! Give me a fucking minute, jeez!
What about someone's pet companion? Can it be used to scout out,
From what I
scout out
know,
what's going on and at least help us a little bit? Make sure
from
we
what
do
I
not go completely uninformed?
from what I know of magic, he will need to spend some time reacquiring his mystical pet. Um, he could possibly be doing that tonight, and then we could set out first thing in the morning.
I think any advantage that we could gain would be useful
I agree.
if, of course, he is willing to do it.
Unfortunately, most of our resources will be protecting and escorting the young ones that are with us, trying to find their way out. So once we get into Kosoba proper, we will find a safe place to hold up and hope that you come back to us.
I think then that you should ready your forces, and we will ready ourselves to make out for Kosoba in the morning.
Very good. It's about a 4-day journey to Kosoba proper. But we'll be at the crossroads to launch the attack, and it should draw the majority of them. We'll see them crossing the northern plains here. Puts a finger down on the map. We'll be able to see the roaches moving from the trees as we cross the bridge here.
I will go fetch Soren and Maximiel and inform them of our strategy.
Soren, Maximiel, you, while the rest of them are discussing strategy, arrive at the gate, and you see it's very similar to the gate that you stepped through, except for this one is up on its side. There are 2 tall spires flanking it, and it is built into the spires with a ramp up. And this one seems a lot larger, as if to fit, multiple people through at the same time. And the runes,
how large are we talking? Like,
are very
are we talking like
visible.
a group of 20, or are we talking like armies?
So the diameter of this one at its widest is about 50 feet. So group of 20.
Diameter is 50 feet.
Yep. Still the same large 14 stones. And all the runes appear to be in Bradish.
Do they match the ones that we had on ours?
They do.
Ooh.
So what do you
Yes.
think if we perhaps replicate the process by which we got here? We could turn it back on?
We could try. Or we could do the opposite. Like,
Opposite. Oh,
you know,
to go
we had
to where we came.
we had to press everyone except Light's Heart. If we pressed all of them, if we pressed only Lightheart and then pointed a stick outwards, I don't know.
Yes, where is home from here?
We could just, there's only so many directions in which one could point.
True.
While there may actually be infinite directions in which one could point, it's close enough. They probably take their answer to within point, 1 decimal point.
There does seem to be a margin of error that they accept, yes. Oh, gods.
What are they?
Whoever they is, yes. The ley line protectors. Can I walk up and try and touch one of the runes? See if it lights up?
Sure. You walk up and touch it, nothing happens.
And we can walk through this gate, right? Like it's like an open circle.
Yep. And there's nothing blocking you from the other side. The platform extends about 5 feet to the other side, and you can walk past the precipice and nothing happens.
Okay. I press light.
No change.
Well, maybe we have to press the right ones in order to get back to Cyorion. You know, like how we had to press the Heart of Light in order to get to the Heart of Light. If I was able to translate a little more. Oh gosh.
This might be a stretch, but fuck it. What else are we gonna do? I'll open up my book and I will just not ritual, just quick cast identify on the gate.
It is inert stone.
Yeah. Object you
Ooh.
choose throughout the casting of the spell. If it is a magic item or some other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use, how many charges it has, if any, if there are any spells affecting it, and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it.
Correct. This is, as far as Identify tells you, this is inert carved stone.
I check my notes and then I go back up and I press home, Naj.
Home is about 45, 50 feet above you on the right-hand side.
Dog it.
I don't suppose you could float, can you?
Hey, Ben.
Yes.
We could do that thing that we talked about. Could we?
You have technically not committed your spell slots yet, and you have open slot for sorcerers. If you want to commit it, this is the time.
Well, I haven't before, but I could try. And I cast levitate on myself.
So
Nice.
you watch as the you have scales on the side of your face a little bit, right? From it, the scales glisten and the mana kind of flows through Maximiel as she channels the raw sorceress energy, and you commit one of your spell slots to levitate.
Yep.
Side note for sorcerers, we're using open spell slots, which is she has access to the entire list until she commits a spell to a slot. And then as soon as she commits it, that's the learned spell for that slot. So it allows lots more cool sorcerer flexibility to choose what happens in the moment. And now
I don't get it.
it's a twisted way to do sorcerers. I thought it was so cool, and apparently Sarah liked it, so we're doing it. You boom, levitate. 60 feet up, I believe, is the levitate. Levitate 5e.
I think you can hover and choose to go up or down.
She rises vertically 20 feet, remains suspended there. Target can move by pushing or pulling. You can change the target's altitude 20 feet in either direction on your turn. Yep. Lasts for 10 minutes.
So
So,
I
boom.
climb my way up, just very gently pushing myself like on a space, station, and just
Yep.
and then I land.
Yep.
And I touch home.
You touch home, and nothing happens.
I like to imagine it's at this point Doran comes out to find Soren and Maximiel, and he only sees Soren at first.
Just staring up.
And it's just like, what is so? Oh my goodness!
I turn myself around and I grab. I'm like, take away!
Soren,
Doran,
what
quick.
the hell is going on here?
Use your wings.
I don't have wings.
Oh, right. Fuck.
Right. I just put my arms out and I flap my way back down.
Full of tricks, this one is.
Sure.
Comes out and is like, "What? Why didn't you do that when you were up on the tree?
I wasn't able to.
You mean it's just something you just learned?"
You see, yeah. Like, there comes a time in my life where I feel like, oh, goodness, I need to be able to do something. And then I kind of do it. And that's why I have no clue what's going on with me. That's why I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, the next time, give us a warning. Otherwise, our scaly friend here is going to end up like digging.
But it was pretty funny. Did you see the look on his face?
Again.
I'm sorry for it.
You hear just like a string of cursing in Draconic under his breath as he's just like,
You
know, stand
pats him on the
face.
back. He's like, the youngins, they will be the death of us.
Yeah, most
Listen.
likely.
Tarak's uncle, he has a plan. We're going to Kasoba.
Oh. All right. Quietly, I assume?
Sort of. He has said that he has men at his disposal who are willing to act as a distraction, as bait for these cockroach creatures.
Do they know that they are bait in this plan?
They have said, and I quote, they are willing to either die in this place to save everyone, or else they know they're just going to die in this place for nothing.
Oh, well, that's fair.
It's surprisingly noble. I objected, of course, but he said
Yes.
that they have some warriors and some casters who can
Oh,
perhaps create illusions to make the army of attackers look bigger than it is.
interesting.
All
right.
They are going to
So
lead
we
the
are-
roaches away, and we are going to go into Kasoba, where he thinks that there is some kind of arcane repository of knowledge, and I told him that is exactly in your wheelhouse, and you would love to go there.
I mean, if it has answers on how to get out of here, I'm all for it.
So I think that is the plan. Yes, we're setting out first light. Well, not first light exactly. I mean, I don't know how sleeping works here. If the lights are always on, it's confusing.
I don't know.
Illyria.
Most
So,
places fucking
no,
beyond me.
no. We do not know what awaits us in that place. And I thought perhaps if you would be willing again to send out your mystical creature ahead to scout. They are looking for a place where they can hole up and wait out until we come back and help them. And then perhaps if we can gain an advantage by finding a place like that and maybe even figure out where that repository might be.
Yes, that's
Any
not a bad
advantage
idea.
would be useful.
Yeah. I might need some materials, but I suppose if they have casters amongst their ranks, I might be able to borrow something.
Well, then perhaps we should head back inside so you can round up those
Yes.
materials and prepare.
Maximiel, I need you to make a Arcana check for me, please. And then
You've
for
got
the
it, boss.
rest of you, Diggin comes walking out of the tent with
Oh, thank the gods.
Hey,
He lives,
with-
okay.
Illyria right next to him. A bit of a problem.
I rolled a 17.
Get back
No,
to you in 1
what?
second.
Diggin, did you hurt anyone that you weren't supposed to?
It didn't hurt anybody. If you want to say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Diggin, are you all right?
Like looking to everyone individually. Nice to meet you.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
bollocks.
We expected that from him, and we asked him how he got to be here, and he said that where's here, and thought he was being coy, and said your friends brought you, and said that he had no friends.
Is she the one that gave me the little piece of word?
Last member.
She did give you the word.
Okay. I'll just quietly walk over to her and just like walk like side to side like this. Is now the time for the word?
Absolutely not. Do not. They don't.
Tell me what it does.
You don't know what will happen. Don't use it unless it's the most dire of needs. If you use it, I don't know. It was in the notes from what happened, and all we know is that everyone ended up dead.
Fine.
Tarak walks up to Diggin. What is the last thing you remember?
Turns and looks to the tent. Looks back at you. Walking from there.
Before you woke up. Is there anything?
No.
Oh,
Do you know your name?
No. Who are we?
We're friends. We care about each other.
Well, they asked me who we are too.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We as in the collective here, or we as in you?
As
I'm
a
We.
I'm not
That is
usually
what I
lost.
feared. Oh dear. Okay. I grab Max and Soren and I just go, okay, remember how, Max, you heard all those different screams of terror and pain and there's lots of voices? And Soren, now he is saying we instead of I, or referring to himself in the third person.
You don't think?
Yeah.
I do
No.
think, and I think it's a problem.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Tarak looks at Diggin since he's standing close. Is anything different about him? Do his eyes look different or anything that he can spot physically?
I'll go to that. Physical description doesn't change. Standing much taller, fully upright. Like Diggin's always had this like stealthy-ish kind of cadence to him. Like in times of need, he'll crouch down and whatever. But this is like full-on perfect stance, perfect posture, and he's just looking around. Where are
I'll
we?
walk up. Just look him in the eyes. What do you feel right now?
Nothing.
What do you want?
Nothing.
God dog it.
Who are you?
Who are we?
Yes.
What do you want to be?
Want.
I can't detect thoughts again. Anything's changed.
Uh-oh.
Diggin, if you would like to make the saving throw for that, you can make it not at a disadvantage anymore. You're awake.
Wisdom save.
Wisdom save.
Yep.
And 4.
4?
Yep.
Diggin, you fail, so what happens?
As you peer into, are you going surface level or deeper? Sorry.
Deeper is the wisdom save, so deeper.
Okay, so it has to go deeper. As you kind of like peer into the mind, almost like trying to pierce that veil, it's strange how long you travel into this space of just loudness and those whispers. Every now and then a different voice comes into place and you get a different whisper and then a different whisper, and then it gets louder and louder and louder and it just turns into screams and terror and shunting pain again.
Oh, great.
And then after a moment, it just stops. Who are we?
Whoever you want to be.
So
Noted.
Soj peers around from the
his,
tent as you guys are kind of all back there talking.
Is Diggins' shovel still on his back?
He's still got everything with him. Yeah.
Physical appearance,
Okay.
everything that he had, nothing has left his body.
All right. All right. May I? And I reach behind his back and pull the shovel. Do you know what this is?
Like as you reach, he just watches your hand, grab it, and then watches you go back. A tool.
Does it mean anything to you?
No.
Do you know what it does?
Grabs it.
Correct,
Looks
let's
at
go.
it. Starts to dig a hole.
Okay.
And he just keeps digging.
Point to the... You keep your daggers like belt, right?
His attire is kind of like a leather, like inlaid armor that goes into like his body part, so you can see bits and pieces of the metal kind of join up, like fusing, and it goes into like almost like a trench coat kind of longer back piece, and the daggers are in the back side of his belt underneath the long piece, so on his back.
Okay. So kind of like
Yes.
point
Right,
downwards
puts
to
it
those.
Yeah, downwards in a quick grab.
Yeah. Puts a hand on his arm, says, "You can stop now."
Stops immediately. Drops the
Okay.
shovel.
Those
All right.
down there. Do you know what those are? On
He's
your
pointing.
back.
He whips them out and like flourishes them. Weapons.
Do you know what they're for?
Yes.
Do you know how to use them?
Is there like any like trees or anything
Yeah.
around?
What are
There's a couple posts near the back of camp that you could throw them or stab them at.
Kind of flicks them, flourishes them, and then just chucks them both at the post. Do I roll an attack?
Yeah, make an attack roll. With advantage, because it's not evading you in any method.
I need attack. Oh, that was at disadvantage. My bad.
Well, we will take the better. So 17 absolutely hits the
Okay.
post, yeah. It just slams it.
And throw. 20 and a 17.
Yeah, they both shunk shunk within quarter inch of each other. Near the head height on the post.
Diggin?
He has not lost any of his touch.
Diggin,
Yeah,
what are
there's
the
a few
daggers
things.
for?
He doesn't respond.
Illyria is standing there with Soj, who's now kind of come around and takes a look, and she goes, "Father, do you mind?" No, go ahead. She steps in, grabs something, comes back out, and doesn't say anything. Just throws this. It's in Discord and it'll be on stream. Throws this item at Diggin.
Yes.
made by our own mates.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
He immediately grabs it out of the air.
And you are absolutely, yeah. So, do you want me to go with it? I'll go with it and tell you exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Go
So-
for it. Explain it. But he just snatches it immediately out of the air. Doesn't do anything with it.
This would be like the daggers. And you're absolutely proficient with it.
He's just holding it out.
How big is it?
This is a long bladed staff.
Okay,
It's about the
so
size
like
of a quarter staff with a blade on each end.
Nice.
And she kind of looks at you. Do you know how to use that one?
Flourishes and like flips it around, bow staff wise, whips it around, puts it behind his back.
That's a yes.
I'll take that back now if you don't mind, Father. Your weapon. Here you go.
Flourishes it back, holds it out, palm up. Returns to his pomper stance.
Torag again bends down, grabs the shovel, and hands it back to Diggin.
Just puts it on his back.
So she said, well, it seems that your friend is quite talented. I believe our plan will go through. You can take the evening. We will do the same, packing up supplies and preparing ourselves for the next few days, but I think we're a go.
Mr. Tsoj, please. You said you had some sort of memory-related powers? That
Yes.
you were able to view into the mind of
Yes.
people who've fallen. Is there any way that you can bring memory back? Can you? Is there anything you can do that would
It's possible,
spark something
but I
you
would
remember?
It's possible, but I would never do it for that. No. Not, I apologize. Did you not just
Why
scream on the floor in agony and pain as it racked your mind when you read its thoughts? Are you mad?
Oh, we have a wand. We have a wand of
I said twice.
boo-boo
Because
removal.
I'm not coward. And
Because
I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get answers. Are you?
sure, and get answers to go home, but your friend that you brought with you is not, frankly, and unfortunately my concern, and I've seen what they can do. No, I don't want to mess with it. It's terrifying. It's just
You're
about
not
as...
messing with it. You never know. That could be our key home. He could be our key home. They could be our key home.
Well, they can be our key home if they're waiting for us in Kosoba proper, but not here. I've heard tales of what they can do. I apologize. No. I don't want to inadvertently activate something that will decimate a quarter of our forces before we've even enacted our plan. It's madness.
When he says that, can I look at Alira? What's her name? Or Aaliyah?
Yeah, you can make an insight check on the two of them as a group, really.
God. So that's 8 plus 8, I think 16.
And there is
16.
Complete fear washed over their faces. They've talked about the roaches and the great void dragon, Noldoreth, and all these other terrible, horrible things, and they have not looked quite as frightened as they have at Diggin actively standing and flourishing weapons in front of them. They are horrified of Diggin.
So just look at her.
And she's wide-eyed, just pale face, absolutely scared.
Hey.
Hmm?
The word.
Don't say it. I really would not here, not now. Only use it when you need to. I'm entrusting it to you because you travel with him. If you ever need it to get out of a bad situation, use it, but you say it now, we all never may make it home.
Soren, I don't know. Soren doesn't share that with anybody, right? The word.
And he didn't just say that loud enough for anybody.
No, he's kind of standing next to Illyria still.
Okay.
Diggin just turns his head and his body, and then walks to the pole to retrieve his daggers.
Yeah. I have.
Pulls out the daggers, puts them in his belt, turns back, walks back to the group.
I would say that you tell him that he's with friends and that you've been his traveling companions, and maybe it'll come back to him. I don't know. But I would...
We've seen him like this before. He doesn't know what friend is at the moment. This
Untrue.
Purpose-driven.
You know what friend means.
This time you
Yes.
understand that word.
Of course.
We are your friends.
You are our friend.
Yes.
Yes.
I,
Yes.
them, we are friends to all of you.
And I would like to say that I told them what I saw in the mine, so they know that multiple people are within Diggin right now.
Yeah, I think you.
Or at least that's what it's like.
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying that I did.
Oh, yeah.
We
wanted
just
to
kind
say-
of inferred it from the way Diggin keeps saying we and the info that you told us when you got your psychic damage was that there's lots of voices in there.
I think she's saying that she also told you when she just did it now as
Yeah.
well that they're still there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it without doing it.
Everybody's tracking. We're on the same page.
I could try something unorthodox. Perhaps it would work. I don't know. Last time I did it, though, he went catatonic.
You think
Do it.
the hug?
Doran approaches Diggin and just says, would it be permissible for me to give you a hug?
He like looks you up and down real quick.
It's what friends do.
A hug.
It is a embrace of friendship.
Sure.
And he wraps his big dragon arms around him and gives the robot a hug.
You get nothing back.
Oh, look, we're all friends now. Yes. Okay, I'm going to go sleep in my tent, and the light should be coming off any moment. And then as soon as he's saying that, the light beam just goes, you. Kind of shuts off. Perfect
supplies.
timing.
You mentioned supplies. I need charcoal, incense, and herbs. If you have any, please. I need to get my familiar back.
Yes, we have plenty of those things. I'm sure you can find whatever you need. Barrick will get you what you need.
Lovely. Thank you.
As an aside, really quick, does your charcoal has a gold cost, right?
Yeah, it's worth
it's like 10
charcoal,
gold.
incense, and herbs worth 10 gold.
Okay. Just so you guys do know, I am stealing another cool idea I found from another DM, which was the adventurer's gear. If you ever have need of a common mundane item, just like string or such and such random trinket, I don't want you guys to have to track that. So for 1 gold, you can pick up a 5-time use item just called adventurer's gear. And much like the spell slots of random pulling, if you're just like, I need string, if you have adventurer's gear, you reach in the bag, you're like, there's my string, you have it. Instead of 5 uses. Mundane items and things without a cost requirement, so like your incense in this case would not count because it has a specific gold requirement. So this is just mundane junk that you're like, I want to set up a string as a booby trap to tell us if somebody's coming. That's permissible with adventurer's gear. So if you guys want adventurer's gear, they can basically get you the minutia. They will give you each a bag of like whatever minutia you need. The gold and stuff, they kind of want you to trade rations for because they don't have much good food. So if you have rations, they will trade you 10 rations for 10 gold worth of incense and charcoal and all sorts of other things. And this is very poor quality, so you are brought logs of charcoal. And then whatever crummy incense they have, just piles of the stuff.
Dried mushroom or whatever.
Yeah. It doesn't smell great. It burns and it makes smoke and it does the trick.
All right. So I'll just do that for an hour or whatever it takes.
Okay.
Are there torches or like sconces or any type of light in the camp?
There are. As soon as the lights go out, everybody kind of lights torches. And there are a couple, especially at the perimeters, the 2 edges where you can come into the camp. They have lights up on them as well as a watchtower has a light on it. And they've got a few people kind of patrolling the exterior.
Is there like unlit torches, or can I dig and only see those with lit torches?
You can find an unlit torch. It won't take you too long to search around. Find one.
Okay. Yeah. Diggin just like awkwardly just leaves and goes and lights a torch and then comes back with a light.
While Soren is doing his meditation before we sleep, I think Doran is going to try and spend time with Diggin to like fill him in more or less on like what he's missed so far and see if he can't coax the Diggin personality back out.
Okay.
Who are we?
This is a very difficult question to answer. When I met you, you were a singular personality. Somebody we called Diggin.
Diggin.
Diggin, he was very skilled as a digger of ditches, but also very skilled in combat.
Noted.
You seem to have retained both skills despite not having any memory of the Diggin personality that you once presented.
Personality.
Your essence, your soul, for lack of a better word.
Soul.
You present yourselves now as multiple essences, multiple personalities stored within this construct. It's fascinating, but it's also very, very terrifying.
We are one.
To the best of my knowledge, yes. But before there was no we, there was just the one.
Diggin.
Yes.
We are diggin.
Well, it is definitely a start. So, if you hear us call for Diggin, know that we are calling for you, and please do your best to trust us, as we have come to trust you.
Friends.
Friends.
Noted. Where are we?
We are lost somewhere hard to explain. We're not exactly sure where this location is, but we are attempting to get back home to a land called Cyorion. Are you familiar with it?
No.
I was afraid of that. Well, it is the home where we all originally come from, at least most of us. To be quite frank, we are not really sure where you originate from. It could be Cyorion, but it could also be a different place.
Diggin looks back to the tent. We are from here.
Yes, when you awoke just now, you originated from here, but originally, as just Diggin, you came with us through a portal and you ended up here. But something happened, and you sort of went catatonic.
Awoke.
Yes, the people in the tent who were tending to you, they managed to bring you back to consciousness, but as you are now, as the multiple and not the singular.
Noted.
It is something we will have to research and discuss further, but for now, just know that we have many days of travel ahead and quite possibly dangers to face in combat. So, if you see us attacking someone, odds are you should attack them. Always defend yourself. I'm trying to think of all the other rules we had set up with Diggin. He was very literal. We always had to tell him what to do.
Danger.
Danger. Creatures, monsters. We will have to fight them, possibly. If in doubt, look to either myself or any of the others, and we will help you as best we can.
Noted.
Okay. Anything else for the evening as you guys prepare for the next day?
When Diggin goes to rest, or if he does, Max will wait and then she will follow. But that's at the end.
Diggin stays on sentry and walks around the camp.
After watching him for about 30 to 45 minutes, you see that there's a pattern that emerges as he puts in kind of sentry steps and begins to guard the camp.
Okay. I will walk up to him and tap him on the shoulder.
Danger.
No. Maximil. Friend.
Friend.
Yeah. I had a couple of questions for you, if that's all right. I know you don't have a lot of answers. I've just been thinking over the past couple of hours, and, well, I pull out his signature, that he put onto the Midnight Parliament thing.
Mm-hmm.
The best reconstruction of that I can do. Do you know what this says?
No.
Alrighty. Fold it in. I take out the etching that I did. Do you know what this means?
Looks it over. No.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Do you know what Galaxidin is? Galaxilin?
No.
You saw a dark elf once, a Thralin. You said she was beautiful, and you said she was sad. Do you remember her?
No.
Do you know who the Faceless are?
No.
Do you remember seeing a dark sewer, an elven woman, and a half-elven child? Do you remember seeing her be happy?
No.
Do you remember digging graves?
Looks to the shovel on his back. Looks back. No.
Why did you look at your shovel?
Digging.
That's what you do. Or did.
Dig in.
Yes. That's why you were called that. Or at least that's why we postulated that we called you that.
Noted. Friends.
Friends.
He looks out into the darkness. Danger.
Do you see something?
No.
Do you know something?
Danger.
What
We
sort of-
dig in is supposed to help friends from danger. Looks out to the darkness again. Danger.
Well, friends also protect Diggin from danger. And we also make sure that you're rested and ready to go. So, why don't
Rest.
you? Yes. It's a time where you shut down, then you come back. Most of the time, you remember what happened the previous day.
Shut down.
Yeah. You just go away for a little while. I mean, personally, I close my eyes and then
He just
I
walks
lie down.
away.
Wait, no, wait. Pause. Reverse.
Rewind.
We have to be even more literal now.
He starts.
Okay.
He turns back to you and starts walking backwards.
I knew it. All right. I shouldn't do that. That's me. Okay. Follow me, please.
Lead the
And I
way.
take you to whatever tent we're staying in. And I point to whoever's sleeping. And I say, do you see what they're doing? I point at Soren. You don't need to snore like he is.
Soren, more like snoring.
Gross puns. Looks
You
down at
just-
Soren.
And
Looks to you.
I tried to describe as best I can the way that Diggin used to take his rests. Because I know that it was kind of different from how we did it. But I just tried to describe how to do it. And
Is there an empty bed or whatever he's laying on?
Yeah, there's an empty cot. There's an empty cot available.
Dickon will awkwardly just go and lay on the cot. Does it hold almost 300 pounds?
Yeah, they're pretty sturdy.
He just like lays back. Doesn't move.
close your eyes. Can Diggin's eyes close? They're like draconic-ish, right?
There's no eyelids.
They dim a little bit, but they're still very vibrant in there.
It's like a nightlight.
Well, now you relax.
Relax.
And I will. Yes. You just kind of let your mind wander, and then you rest. Just.
Mind. Wander.
Not literally. Well, kind of literally. You just think about things, you know? Think about what happened today. Think about what you'll do tomorrow. Usually people have more to think about because they have more to remember. I don't know, I kind of have insomnia, so I don't think I'm the best person to tell you how to sleep. But, I can try to do this. And I start telling a story that my mom and dad used to tell me about a castle hidden among the sands, and how when the wind blew, different parts of the castle would show, and the creatures that floated in and out and took different forms in the sand, and just a very relaxing, pretty picture, and see if that does anything.
You realize every detail that you talk about, he asks about sand, wind. And it's like everything is just coming at him, and he's inquisitive on every detail.
I tell him about every detail.
As Soren
Describe it.
snores beside you.
A castle is a large building that people live in.
People.
I'm a people. You're a people. Soren's a people. We're all folks.
But does this go on until Maximil passes out from exhaustion?
There's one more thing I'd like to do.
Yeah.
There's this thing called a booby. That is what you are.
A booby.
I don't know if that's what you meant you wanted me to do, but I did it.
He gave us the reins and we betrayed him.
Boring! I thought it said booby! It looks like booby! Look at that!
We definitely can't see that.
It was just blurred.
What was it supposed to be?
I think.
Anyways, I go to bed.
Diggins,
Good night.
Diggins a booby. You heard it here
You're a
first.
booby. Good night.
Diggin, Booby.
So,
I'm
sleep.
just trying to
It's been an exhausting trek all the way over to the Vasoth outpost, and an exhausting day of questioning and trying to figure out what the hell again is wrong with Diggin. The next day, you all prepare before the light comes out. Yeah, go ahead, Chalk.
Before we go to sleep while all of that stuff was going on,
Absolutely.
Does Tarak see Illyria anywhere?
Mm-hmm. She's making preparations and packing up stuff for the camp.
Okay. Tarak walks up to her and he says, "May I have a moment of your time?"
Absolutely, cousin. She says, looking down at you from almost a whole foot above you. She's very, very tall. The two of them are about 7 foot. I don't know how tall Tarak is actually. So she's 7 foot 2.
6'5".
So she's 7 foot 2, and her father's about 7 foot 6.
Oh wow. Okay. What is it like to grow up on Eterna
Oh, it's a beautiful place.
when you're not different from anybody else?
I miss it horribly. It's a beautiful place. I have a son there who must be almost as old as I am now, I feel like. Let's see. Yeah, he would be about 110 now, so he'd be catching up to me. But, you know, it was a strange and beautiful place. And, you know, the fact that we had everybody who looked and sounded like me, and you know, I wasn't out of place from anybody else. It was a normal life as far as I'm aware.
How many of us are there?
Rollin? Told him? Oh, hundreds of thousands. Spread all over Eterna. There are cities with populations in the hundreds of thousands. There must be millions of us. You know, entire countries that work together across the Arctic Ring Sea. And that's possibly the hardest part is travel. And having to sail a narrow sea around an entire world to make it to another city is very difficult.
My father would tell me stories, and after some time I started doubting his words. I thought he would just make it up.
I am happy to say that you are incorrect, Tarak. It is a dangerous but beautiful place with many exciting things to discover.
I hope one day I will get to see it, and my father will as well.
I think you will. Especially if we can figure this out, maybe there will be a quick way between our worlds. That you may come and visit me sometime, and I may come and see your bright-starred planet?
It does have its beautiful parts.
Then you don't have any of the issues. You're able to walk around in the daylight just fine. No, this bright star doesn't blind you as it did to your father.
No, I am a half-breed. I am part what is called an orc.
It must be where the weird tusks come from. I haven't seen much like that. We've seen it on these pig creatures, but no offense, but I mean, I haven't seen anything else that has tusks like that.
None taken.
It is a striking feature, and I'm sure you elicit terror from those that would oppose you with such a fearsome visage. Quit making eyebrows at me, Sarah. I'm trying to look at magic, and Sarah sitting right next to making eyebrows at me. That was funny.
I should let you continue with your preparation. Thank you for your time.
Hey, anytime, cousin. I'm always available if you have any more questions, and hopefully we can catch up in a less hostile environment.
I hope so as well. The gods will it.
If they do.
Okay. All right, goes back and lies down.
Okay. The sleep comes fairly easily to you in this place, strangely. Especially now that you're behind walls of protection and the exhaustion of the trail getting here. But the next day you strike out with a band of some, nearly, now that you can see the full force of them, almost 100 individuals leaving this camp with you. And you trek north for the majority of the first day. And come to a crossroads where Visage at this point explains that he had before, those of you that still have the earpieces can hear it, and Barrick is kind enough to quickly tap Tarak and Soren to hit him with tongues again. Doesn't do it for Diggin. As Diggin's just kind of standing there, he kind of stays away from Diggin. But Saj gives a inspiring speech talking about the noble sacrifice that these few will make to keep the rest of the encampment safe, and that should you brave souls, referring to you as the Midnight Parliament, be able to find a way home, that you should carry tales of what you've learned here and bring news back to their king of all that they found. When people say their heartfelt goodbyes, tears are shed as children wave goodbye to mothers and fathers who are breaking north. And Desoj comes and speaks to the group of you and says, well, I wish you all the very best of luck. Illyria will take you all from here.
Are you going with them?
Oh, of course, I'm one of the casters that has the ability to stand against that horde for some time. Was that not clear?
I don't think I was part of that conversation.
And Tarak, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you, nephew, and I hope you do find your father and tell him that we had our adventure as well, and that I'm glad to hear he's safe.
Thank you. And I will tell him about you. And Tarak uncharacteristically gives him a big hug.
He looks choked for a moment, but regal and proud as the group of you turns to the west. Illyria at the front of the pack, leading the workers, and Tesoj takes up a command position with the groups of deep gnomes and a few dwarf lookalikes making their way north. You travel very briefly outside of a small city near the edge of this crystal clear lake where the water had come down. Collect your waters full, or your jugs full. The caravan collects large sums of water to make it for the remainder of the trip, not knowing how long they'll be. And Ilaria explains that the lake is a safe place to grab water, and it tastes slightly salty, but is very clean to drink.
Interesting.
And you all have some, but it's crisp and clean with a very slight hint of salt. Almost as if you're drinking incredibly filtered seawater.
As I'm gathering it, is she nearby?
Yeah.
Can I pull her aside? We spoke previously of the maw and this ocean on the world where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like this? Was it salty?
No, it was salt water, yes. It was like an ocean of salty water, unfit for drinking. But here, it seems that whatever that's doing up there and the crystal structures, it's fit for drinking. We collect most of our drinking water from the river a couple days from camp.
Does it look like the fountain coming from the roof is like feeding into this lake?
Absolutely, yeah. Now that you're here, I apologize. I should have explained to you. The water above is hitting a crystalline shelf and falling directly into this lake. It is a massive waterfall out in the center of this lake.
Okay, got it.
But you stop briefly to collect water if anybody has anything else to ask.
How far is it to the center of the lake?
It's a good 12 to 13 miles from where you're at. Let's see.
Never mind.
10 miles. So.
Never mind.
I'm trying
Swim
to
out to the middle.
Yeah, I wanted to go swim to the middle, but I was like, nope.
Actually, it's more like 6 or 7. I forgot I downscaled this so you guys could move along and look, so I could add more detail.
Huge.
Yeah, it's still a very large lake.
Yeah.
Dickens just helping gather water into the cart and just goes back and forth.
You continue for the majority of the second day past an old ruined town. It's completely abandoned. And then come to a bridge. The large bridge crossing the river, Illyria stops and pulls out like a spyglass as she's looking at the plains to the north and hands it to the lot of you as you're standing next to her. Tarak, you can see clearly with the eyes of the eagle creatures scuttling across the plains, moving from west to east. Large, 6-7 foot tall, roach-like creatures with 2 fanged tails, crawling on multiple legs. I'm sharing that to the stream. This is from Kobold Press, Kobold Press's Tome of Beasts. If you ever check them out there.
I was gonna say it looks like Tome of Beasts.
They are nice. But you see swarms of them moving, large groups of 10 to 20 of them moving away from Gasoba proper. So you set
Do
up
they
camp.
look fast?
They look quick, but not able to exceed your speed of travel.
Okay.
At the end of the second day, you set up camp near the side of the river, bed down, and Valeria tells you tomorrow we'll enter Gasoba proper. The next morning, you all wake up early before the light comes on, and as you've been getting closer, the beam shines brighter. Doesn't make you any more blind, doesn't appear to be hurting you in any way, but the source seems more magnificent and more regal the closer you get to the center of the city.
And they said it was coming out of like this dome structure here, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
As you guys make your way into the mushroom forest that surrounds Gasoba proper, you lose sight of the buildings through the thickness of the treetops, and you travel for 6 hours or so getting through the very thickest parts. And as you start to come towards the edge of the forest, you hear bits of laughter and revelry in the distance. As you follow down the path a little bit further towards the edge of the clearing where Kosoba proper begins and some of the streets start to become paved, you can see buildings in the distance, but particularly up close along the road on your way toward the city, you see lights and movement and laughter coming from a tavern on the side of the road. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Wow.
Sussy. Very sussy.
Like
None
everybody
of us
had-
set foot in there until the kitty does some scouting.
Yes.
Thanks everybody for joining us tonight for another session with Queen's Press Crown.
Thank you, everybody.
And
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.
Good night.
Hey, everyone.
Night, y'all.